Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Gonna be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League group stages. So gonna give you the squad update. So Solskjaer has confirmed that David De Gea has travelled to Germany, and Luke Shaw, he's also travelled to Germany. He has confirmed that Anthony Martial and Edison Cavani will miss the game against RB Leipzig because they have got niggles. I mentioned this on my starting 11 prediction I did earlier on today. And obviously Phil Jones I think still out with injury. Now Solskjaer says we will not play for the draw that we need against RB Leipzig. He says playing for 0-0 is not in our genes. He says we don't make it easy for ourselves, but he said it's our tradition, but we need to obviously go out for the win. And Solskjaer claims our recent comebacks will haunt RB Leipzig, because in all our 5 away games in the league so far this season we have come from behind. Harry Maguire, he says we've not thought about playing in the Europa League, and he says we expect to go through. So these are some of the stuff that were mentioned during the press conference. You know, I didn't actually watch it all. Obviously, we beaten RB Leipzig 5-0 at Old Trafford. That was almost 2 months ago. Marcus Rashford had scored a hat-trick, and the other goals came from Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood. That's one of our best wins under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But I think this game at RB Leipzig tomorrow night is going to be totally contrast to the one at Old Trafford. You know, RB Leipzig are a good team. You know, they've got one of the best young managers in the world in Julian Nagelsmann. You know, they're sitting, second in the Bundesliga at the moment. They recently drew 3-3 with Bayern Munich. You know, last season they got to the Champions League semi-finals, and I think last season they finished 3rd in the Bundesliga. And they have got some good players in their team. You know, they've obviously got the likes of Dani Olmo. They've got Emil Forsberg. They've got Christopher Nkunku. They've got Yusuf Poulsen. You know, Dayot Upamecano, he's a very, very good centre-half. You know, Manchester United have been linked with him. You know, they've got Marcel Sabitzer, who I like. Like I've mentioned already, RB Leipzig have obviously got some injuries. They've got Hartmann out. They've got Benjamin Henrichs out. They've got Hwang out. They've got Konrad Lemar out, and they've got Klosterman out with injury. And in the summer transfer window, RB Leipzig lost Timo Werner. So we need to draw or win to qualify for the knockout stage. You know, we've won 3 games out of 5 so far in the group. Obviously, we know that we've got Fred suspended. Obviously, Fred got sent off in our 3-1 defeat to PSG last week. Fred did receive 2 yellow cards. He was lucky not to be sent off in the first half for the headbutt on Paredes, and he got the second yellow card for the tackle on Ander Herrera. But to be fair, he did win the ball. But Fred shouldn't have even been on the pitch, so he should have been taken off at half time. So it was an awful decision by Solskjaer to not take Fred off. Fred didn't play against West Ham. Solskjaer explained why, because he's resting him for the game against Manchester City. But yeah, during the press conference, what I heard, there was no transfers mentioned. There was no transfers mentioned, and there was a few things that weren't mentioned what I thought would have been mentioned, to be honest with you. So I was surprised in that aspect. Didn't really mention how, we're going to line up or what formation we're going to go with. I give you my starting 11 prediction earlier on, and I think Solskjaer's going to revert to 3 at the back. Could he revert to a back 3 against Manchester City at the weekend? I think we're going to line up like this, like I've said already. I think we're going to go with David De Gea in goal because he's now back. He's just recently had a knee injury. I think the 3 centre-halves will be Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. Shaw will be the left centre-back. And the wing-backs, Telles left wing-back and Wan-Bissaka right wing-back. Then in the mid, I think it's going to be Pogba, McTominay and Bruno Fernandes. I don't think Donny van de Beek will start. Some Man United fans have obviously said he's got to start. And then up top, Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. It is a shame that Martial and Cavani aren't available, isn't it? Obviously, Odion Ighalo is an option. Ighalo could come off the bench in the game. Even if Martial would have been available, I still wouldn't have started him because Martial hasn't been in the best of form this season. He hasn't been clinical enough, Martial. He did have a chance against West Ham when he started. Obviously, he came off. He had 2 good chances against PSG, didn't convert them. But Edinson Cavani, I'd loved him to start this game against Leipzig because he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. But, we are going into this game against Leipzig on the back of a 3-1 win against West Ham. We scored, 3 times in 13 minutes. But I think Ole's substitutions in the game against West Ham changed the game completely. When he brought Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford on. Bruno Fernandes obviously came on and got an assist. Marcus Rashford got his name on the score sheet. Should have had another goal because he hit the post. But like I said, for 60 minutes, West Ham were totally dominant. They kept the ball well. They had good chances. They was very, very good on the counter-attack. Paul Pogba actually played well for us against West Ham. That was his first start for Man United in the Premier League for over a month because he's just come back from an ankle injury not so long ago. Away from home, we've been exceptional. We have won our last 9 away games in the league in a row. And we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League since January. And we've won our last 4 league games in a row. It's our home form that is a concern. We've lost 4 games at Old Trafford this season. It was Palace, Tottenham, Arsenal and PSG that's beaten us. We've only won 2 games at Old Trafford this season. That was West Brom. And we obviously beat an RB Leipzig 5-0. So we've only won 1 game at Old Trafford in the Premier League so far this season. But yeah, massive, massive game tomorrow night for Manchester United. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's biggest game, without a shadow of a doubt. If we don't get to the knockout stages, there will be questions that will have to be answered. Won't there? But big game at the weekend against Manchester City. It is the Manchester derby. Manchester City have been in a good vein of form recently. You know, they beat Fulham by 2-0, and not so long ago they beat Burnley by 5-0. Manchester City have got one of the best managers in the world in Pep Guardiola. Obviously, Pep Guardiola has won 2 Premier League titles at City. He's won the FA Cup, and I think he's won a few League Cups. You know, a few seasons ago, City won the... Wait there a second. Yeah, I got it back to now, I just went a bit dark. But yeah, a few seasons ago, City won the domestic treble, and Pep Guardiola became the first manager to register 100 points. Not so long ago, Guardiola signed, was it a 2-year contract at Man City? But Guardiola was also good at Barcelona and at Bayern Munich. And City, you know, did sign a few players during the summer. They obviously got Nathan Ake in, Ferran Torres and Ruben Diaz. They've got other good players in their team as well. You know, they've obviously got Gabriel Jesus, they've got Aguero, they've got Raheem Sterling, you know, they've got Bernardo Silva, they've got Kevin De Bruyne, regarded as one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. They've got Ilkay Gundogan, they've got Rodri. I don't think Rodri's made much of an impact since, you know, Manchester City got him. I think Otamendi and Fernandinho are still there, aren't they? Is Benjamin Mendy still there? He's injury prone though. He's Benjamin Mendy. Obviously they've got Kyle Walker, who's their right back. You know, they got him from Spurs a few years ago. Obviously City did lose Vincent Kompany a few years ago because he went to be player manager at Anderlecht. David Silva also left them. Obviously, City won the Premier League title under Manuel Pellegrini. They also won it under Roberto Mancini. When they won it under Roberto Mancini, that was the first time they'd won a title in 44 years. But anyway, you know, we're capable of beating City, you know, because last season we're beating them 3 times out of the 4 times we played them. And our record against the top 6 sides last season, you know, was very, very good under Solskjaer. After Manchester City, we are away to Sheffield, then we are at home to Leeds. So, games are coming up thick and fast for Manchester United. Aren't they? You know, but my focus is the game tomorrow night. But we've enjoyed some good results this season, and we've also enjoyed some bad results, so it has been up and down. I think Solskjaer's job at Manchester United is safe for now. You know, pressure's obviously eased off him, reflecting on our good run of form. But I'll stick to what I said. I still don't think he's a long-term manager for Manchester United. Now, he could still be Man United manager in the new year. If he is, obviously, he's got to decide on, you know, what players he's going to bring in. You know, I think he knows now what, you know, players he's going to, you know, get rid of next year, because he's still deadwood in the squad that we do need to get rid of. You know, like I've said, you know, there's still issues at the football club he needs to solve. Obviously, he's got to solve the, you know, the Pogba issue. He's got to, you know, select the right formation. He has gone a lot with the 4-2-3-1 formation since he got appointed in as Man United manager. Obviously, he needs to identify his best 11, because I don't think he knows his best 11, Ole. So there you go. But Ed Woodward did say, didn't he, the other week, that Man United will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. So basically, Woodward is agreeing with the comments Solskjaer said, because Solskjaer did recently say that he doesn't expect many ins or outs in January. But Woodward's come out a few times to, you know, support Ole. And like I've said, you know, Solskjaer does deserve more backing by the board, because during the summer transfer window he wasn't backed enough by the board, and none of our managers have been backed enough that we've had since Alex Ferguson retired, and this is the main explanation why the board's been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. You know, Woodward's been at the football club since 2012, and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. But yeah, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second full season as Man United manager. I always said, didn't I, you know, this was always going to be a big season for Ole. You know, he recently said that Manchester United can win the Premier League, and he did make an admission saying that the job is not too big for him. Now, I don't see us winning the league this season. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for around 8 years. I think if Man United can finish in the top 4 this season, and if we can win a trophy, that would represent a very, very good season for Man United. Then that would give us something to build on. You know, there's a chance we could win the Carabao Cup this season. You know, maybe we could win the FA Cup. But I don't see us winning the Premier League, and I don't see us winning the Champions League. At some point this month, it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 2-year anniversary at the club, because he's been Man United manager now for almost 2 years. You know, he's under contract with us until 2022, and I'm very, very sceptical that he will see out his contract. Ole's managed over 100 games for Man United in all competitions. But yeah, we appointed him in December 2018, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. You know, Ole has spent over £200 million since he became Manchester United manager, and he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the club. He did well in his first full season last season. He got us third, he got us qualification for the Champions League, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. You know, we've seen obviously a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. And there's been some games where he showed a lot of tactical flexibility. We've enjoyed some good periods under him. We're enjoying a pretty good period now at the moment. You know, went on a 19-game unbeaten run last season in all competitions. You know, was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League until Palace had beaten us on the opening day of this season. So these positives to take. Reflecting on how long Ole's been at the club, he has gained managerial experience a bit. You know, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. He isn't good enough as a manager, but my perceptions on him when he was a player is totally contrast, because I thought as a player he was exceptional. He enjoyed 11 years as a player for Manchester United, and one of his most iconic moments as a player was when he scored late on in 1999. You know, when he won the club the treble. That's actually the club's greatest achievement. Obviously, there has been, you know, talks of Mauricio Pochettino replacing Solskjaer. You know, quite a few times there's been talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in. You know, there's also been talks of Julian Nagelsmann coming in. It said recently that Thomas Tuchel was linked with a managerial role at Manchester United, but it won't solve a lot if we sacked Ole, because obviously not all of the blame stems from Ole. You know, his decision making does concern me. But there's been problems at the club for several years. You know, we've had problems with players. We've obviously had problems with the board, like I mentioned earlier on. Obviously, 3 managers we've been sacked since Ferguson left. You know, obviously we sacked Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. So there you go. But like I've said time and time again, no manager at Manchester United, or no manager in general, will replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, Ferguson endured 27 years at the club, won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles, but Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. But since he's left, we've been inconsistent, so we've been inconsistent now for the last 8 years. And before Ferguson came into the equation, you know, we was inconsistent as well. You know, we've brought around 36 players in since Ferguson left. Under Moyes, we brought Fellaini and Juan Mata in. Louis van Gaal, we must have brought a good 13 players in at least. We brought the likes of Schneidlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Angel Di Maria, Falcao, Memphis Depay, Rojo, Darmian, Martial, Shaw, Herrera, Victor Valdez, Romero. You know, they're most of the players we brought in under Louis van Gaal. And obviously Jose Mourinho, he recommended 11 players into the football club. And obviously Solskjaer, he's brought around 10 senior players into the squad. And he's also brought quite a few young players in. We spent over £1 billion in the last, 8 years, and people will say, reflecting on the money we've spent, you know, we should be much more of a commanding position, you know, than we're in. You know, Solskjaer, don't forget though, is inheriting a lot of players here from the Jose Mourinho era, you know, because the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. You know, still a few players here from the Louis van Gaal era. There's only one player here from the Moyes era. And I think now there's only 2 players here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. You know what I mean? But, like I've already said, you know, Solskjaer's Man United manager now because he's a club legend, and reflects on that, the board have softened their stance on him. But disregarding him being a club legend, I don't think he'd have been Manchester United manager now. That's my belief. Definitely my belief is that. You know, there's a possibility chance that we could have talks over getting him a new contract next year, because the other week Solskjaer was discussing his contract situation at Man United. This was before the Southampton game. But he says a new contract is not his priority. He says his priority is leading the club to long-term success, and he says that the team are going places under his guidance. You know, Solskjaer thinks more than halfway through his 3-year deal, because when he got the job permanently in March last year, he signed a 3-year deal with Man United. Like I've already gone through with you, we've got some good players, and, you know, these players that have impressed me this season at Man United. You know, Rashford's impressed me, Greenwood's impressed me in a couple of games, but I haven't really had much of a perception on Greenwood, because obviously he's had like personal issues, he's had injuries, he obviously was out with illness at one point. Bruno Fernandes, he's impressed me this season, but he's impressed me since he came to Manchester United, because he's definitely made a difference in the team. Donny van de Beek, you know, he's impressed me. You know, he's made 2 starts now in the Premier League as Donny van de Beek. Fred's impressed me in a lot of games this season. Luke Shaw impressed me before he got injured. Alex Telles, I think he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Man United career. Edison Cavani, you know, he's enjoyed a good start to his Man United career. You know, Harry Maguire, he's impressed me in quite a few games this season. You know, and Wan-Bissaka, he's also been very impressive. You know, De Gea, he's impressed me this season, and De Gea will remain our number 1 for now. So, yeah, they are the players that have impressed me. No matter, he's impressed me in a few games this season. So, there you go. So, I'm doing another video later on. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.